So one night, this couple's at home eating dinner and they have a friend over. And suddenly, boom, the door gets kicked in and there's two men standing there with guns drawn. So the husband, we'll call him Pete. And the wife, her name's Francine. Now, Pete and Francine, they're not wealthy or anything. They're just a couple of working actors. And they have no idea who these two men are or why they targeted them. Now the men, we'll just call them the brothers. Now the brothers run toward them with their pew-pews out. And they're screaming orders at them. Get up! Then the brothers grab them, Pete, Francine, and their friend, who we'll just call Friend. And the brothers grab the three of them and they drag them all upstairs to the bedroom. And then they hold them at gunpoint. And one by one, they tie them up. Then one of the brothers goes back downstairs and he starts sifting through Pete and Francine's stuff. And then he loots their house and he loads all their valuables into Pete and Francine's car. Meanwhile, upstairs, the other brother has all three of them tied up and he's holding them at gunpoint. While Francine is trying to talk to the guy like, hey, please don't do this. And secretly, she's low-key trying to memorize his facial features just in case she makes it out of this alive. Then the brother goes over to Francine and he holds her down while he's still got a pew-pew to her head. And then he gets on top of her and he does something to her that I won't elaborate on, but starts with an R. And then when he's done, he goes over and does the same thing to her friend. All while Francine's husband Pete is there in the room and he's forced to witness the whole thing. And when they're done, the brothers get in Pete and Francine's car and they drive away. And Pete and Francine and Friend, they're absolutely horrified by what just happened. So they immediately go to police and they tell them everything. And luckily, Francine had memorized the attacker's face. So she helps police create one of those police sketches of the guy. But unfortunately, that sketch is all they have to go on. Regardless, police go out and they look for the brothers. But after a few days, it's kind of a dead end and they got nothing. But then, one night, an officer's out on patrol and he sees a car that he finds suspicious. I'm not sure why. But he goes and pulls the car over just before it can enter the freeway and get away. So the officer walks up to the car and he looks at the guy in the passenger seat and he thinks, hey, that guy looks familiar. In fact, he looks just like the police sketch that Francine had helped them with. An officer realizes that it's one of the brothers and bam, he arrests him right there. So Pete and Francine, they get the call and then they go down to the police station to confirm that they got the right guy. And when they get there, they see there are already a ton of witnesses there ready to identify the brothers for other crimes they had committed. So the brothers get charged, they go to trial. The one that did the R word gets 2 life sentences. The other brother who looted their house, he gets less prison time, but still a lot of time. And poor Pete and Francine, they get years and years of therapy to help them recover from this horrible experience. But that is not actually the craziest part of Pete and Francine's story. Remember how I said they're working actors? Years later, Pete and Francine go on to create a television show, completely unrelated to the robbery. But they create a show, and she acts in it, and he produces it. And that show becomes massively successful in the 90s, because Pete is actually Peter Mark Jacobson, and Francine is actually Fran Drescher. And that show they created is The Nanny. It becomes one of the most popular sitcoms of all time. Also, much later, Francine actually goes on to become president of the Screen Actors Guild. It's pretty cool. And the sitcom has nothing to do with them getting robbed or whatever. It's just an interesting story. Anyway, shout out to New York.